This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I'm the host on this podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspectives, Spiritual Truths. Tonight, we're going to continue our amazing journey as we are supporting our nation. We're going to keep talking about these things. Our flag represents our great nation, the citizens thereof. Our seal here represents our amazing president and the need to pray for him. We're going to continue our journey because we're going to remember the 265,900,000 working Americans living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet last year. We're going to support them, pray for them. I always want to acknowledge them because it was hard. Now, we are going in a different direction. We've already established last year. Our election determined people said we're going in the wrong direction. We got new leadership, a new president, got a cabinet, got a lot of dynamics. We got a lot of resistance going on. We know who the leader is in America. He's got backbone and he doesn't mind standing up for we the people. So tonight we're going to examine something that has generated a lot of discussion in our nation. The Trump effect. Why do I talk about President Trump? Because I'm in the United States of America and this is my podcast and I can talk about what I want to talk about and apparently is resonating with some people. Thank you for your contribution to the podcast. We're in 1,320% this year so far. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to Singapore, Finland, Australia, Africa, Finland, Egypt, and the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the other new countries that are joining on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tonight, we're going to discuss the Trump effect. And yes, there is a specific effect that President Trump has on situations. How can one man have such an impact on the world? Is there something called the Trump effect? What happens as a result of it? Does it affect the outcome of specific situations? Have those outcomes resulted in there being some degree of accountability, whereas it may have not been any accountability in some areas in our nation in the past? Just look at what was going on with USAID and that money and our taxpayer dollars, the money coming out of my paycheck, your paycheck, where it was going, the agendas it was supporting. Non-governmental organizations, leaders, they were getting paid. What were they promoting? Yeah. What were they promoting? So, all of this relates to the Trump effect and these things that have been discovered with USAID and the non-governmental organizations and Maxine Waters saying, we don't know what they have on us and all that. We're talking about accountability. This is why they're bucking and they don't want, of course they don't want exposure, but there is a need to have balance in accountability. Oh yeah. Remember, I'm always saying that we're going somewhere and it's expecting us when we get there. Come and go with me. The Trump factor. Let's look at that. Something happened earlier this year that resulted in Meta paying Donald Trump $25 million to settle a federal lawsuit and lobbies for antitrust relief, where the Federal Trade Commission chairman is geared up for a legal showdown. Listen, I want Meta to be successful. I've met the most amazing people through that venue. And whatever adjustments that need to be made to make it right, we want them to do it. I want them to thrive. But we don't want wrong things going on. We don't want the censorship. And let me go ahead and say this. The leader of it said earlier, months ago, that the Biden administration encouraged them to execute censorship as it related to COVID-19. I'll leave that right there. So they agreed to pay Donald Trump $25 million, we're talking about accountability, to settle a 2021 federal lawsuit over what? His suspension from the platform. So the leadership there is observed to actively lobby. He lobbied the Trump administration to settle the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission's, the FTC's antitrust case against his company. The FTC aims to break up Meta by forcing divestiture of Instagram and WhatsApp acquisitions. Now, we're talking about business, so this is in the news. I'm repeating something that was in the news. I didn't get it off of the mainstream media. I cross-referenced and looked and researched and found out a flow and got the connections. Now, Meta is simultaneously urging the Trump administration to fight the European Union's potential $1 billion antitrust fine. Oh. FTC Chairman Andrew Ferguson is preparing for trial despite the settlement efforts. So, was it $25 million? Was that a peace offering? What is it? What was that about? It's a drop in the bucket for him, I know that. FTC works to promote what? Competition and to protect and educate consumers. That's why. So, Meta opened its deep pockets to the tune of $25 million to settle a federal lawsuit with President Trump over his 2021 suspension from Facebook and Instagram following the Capitol events. That January 6th event, which truth has come out regarding that, and it is not what we were told. It's not. Go listen to the interview, Tucker Carlson and the former chief of police of Washington, D.C., Stephen Son. And there is this police officer as well. I mean, Pelosi and company, what they did, the truth is coming out. And that police that took the life of Ashley Babbitt, is that her name? Yeah. Oh, the details of that and him and the dynamics are hard. They don't want all that to come out. That's a whole other story. Now, let's get back to where we were flowing. But all of it ties in. The settlement includes a whopping $22 million directed specifically to President Trump's presidential library. That's convenient. That's convenient. Now, after years of censoring conservative voices while letting leftist vitriol run wild, an apparent decision was made to say it's time to make amends. That would be great, to make amends. That would be awesome if we could do that. But the leadership of that company, they got some things to walk out. A lot of things. Regarding censoring conservative voices, Mr. Mark said himself that the Biden-Harris administration pressured the company to censor Americans regarding COVID-19. And the truth that's coming out about that is a whole other podcast. The same company that felt emboldened to silence a sitting American president now is claiming that they're just innocent private parties with no government obligation. Well, their legal team had the they argued that the First Amendment didn't apply to them as a private entity, stating there's little sense to attribute a private party's action to the government based on a handful of statements from individual members of Congress. Oh, well, was that convenient that their understanding of constitutional rights fluctuates based on which political party might be able to contribute to helping their bottom line? I'm just talking out loud. See, the FTC is wants to bust up and break up some stuff. I welcome seeing the leadership of Meta at the White House. I'm like, okay, maybe let me put it this way. It's going to be interesting to see how President Trump's 5-point plan related to censorship and the Digital Bill of Rights will affect this company and the others. It will be interesting because lobbying the Trump administration officials to settle the Federal Trade Commission's antitrust case before it goes to trial, that's going to be interesting because it is a serious dynamic. The case threatens to dismantle a social media empire by reversing the company's strategic acquisitions of other entities. Remember when these platforms were actual competitors before being swallowed up by a larger conglomerate? Remember all that? There are a lot of dynamics and there's a lot on the table. There's a lot at stake. The FTC remembers it, Federal Trade Commission, and they rightfully are calling these moves what they were: calculated attempts. They say, what the FTC is saying is that it was calculated attempts to eliminate competition. And they're saying we can't do that. We'll walk it out. We want the censorship to stop. We want to be treated fairly. That's what we want. There are people that want government intervention, the interference that these companies typically fight tooth and nail for when it comes to content moderation or privacy regulations. I mean, the Biden administration censored us and put their foot on our necks related to what we could even talk about, guys. Accounts were being shut down. Twitter was shut down. When Elon Musk bought it, people who had been shut down for 3 years, all of a sudden, they had their First Amendment constitutional rights being recognized. That's just the truth. The FTC chairman, Andrew Ferguson, stands firmly on President Trump's side and is preparing for battle, and they're undeterred by settlement. They want this to be litigated. They don't want big tech controlling us and our constitutional rights. They don't want big tech to have a lockdown on everything. They want other people to come to the table. So, there's a battle going on two fronts. They've got European troubles is what I hope they work it out. I want people to be successful, but we want it done the right way. Fighting with content creators and facing billion-dollar fines, is it worth it? What are we doing? Antitrust violations, is it worth it? The European Commission is preparing a cease and desist notice under their Digital Markets Act, DMA, which imposes actual competition rules on giants in the industry, tech giants. Rather than comply with international law, what's the strategy going to be? They're going to try to get President Trump to fight their battles for them? How does that work? What are they going to do differently? They're actively pressuring the administration to counter the EU's enforcement actions, crying discrimination against American companies. It has been said this is not about fines. It's not just about fines, guys. It's about the commission seeking to handicap successful American businesses simply because they're American, while letting Chinese and European rivals off the hook. This is what some are saying. This is what's really at stake. What happened in Europe that is affecting America? Forcing users into a pay or consent model for ads on specific platforms. You either surrender your data for tracking or you pay up. That's what's going to be argued in court. And it's going to affect people. It's going to affect content creators. See, people make billions of dollars off of data. Where is this going to go? We want them to be fairly treated, but we want us to be fairly treated as well. Now, one of the vice presidents of this company says that when companies are treated differently and in a way that is discriminatory against them, then that should be highlighted to that company's home government. The irony is palpable from a company that shows some discriminatory actions towards conservative voices. Listen, just leave people alone. It's not hard. Censorship. Why? Should that be a part of a business model? Treat us fairly. Treat us fairly. The Trump factor is intervening. It involves dynamics that some are not used to. Political influence and regulatory power that is actually utilized to support we the people. Trump has significantly reshaped the regulatory landscape by firing 2 Democrat commissioners from the FTC who are now suing to reverse their dismissals. This power move signals that the administration isn't afraid to wield executive authority to challenge the regulatory status quo that had a foot on the neck of specific factions of we the people. Yes, it did, and it's easy to prove. With the Obama administration, conservative organizations, they couldn't even get their 501c3 request approved. That was a scandal. These are dynamics that specific groups have been targeted, guys, and it's not right. It's not right. We just want our constitutional rights honored according to what the Constitution says. While this sends big tech a clear message that the days of regulatory capture may be numbered, it's concerning to see leaders attempt to leverage let me just say this. Will financial generosity gain favorable treatment in antitrust matters? We'll see. We'll see. So a $25 million settlement with Trump where something is going towards the presidential library. What is that supposed to affect some legal resolution? We'll walk it out. We'll walk it out because there are principles, constitutional principles, that we simply want to be upheld. This all provokes thought regarding the power of accountability. This has a lot to do with accountability, guys. Yes, it does. So we're going to look at that. The power of accountability. What is accountability? It's defined as the ability to take responsibility for one's actions and decisions. It is a powerful force for personal and professional growth, fostering trust, integrity, ultimately success. Now, let's take a deeper look at the power of it. Accountability is amazing. Why does it matter? Personal growth. What would happen if we embraced accountability, which allows individuals to learn from mistakes, improve their decision making, and develop a stronger sense of self-awareness and integrity? What about goal achievement? When individuals hold themselves accountable for their actions and commitments, they are more likely to achieve their goals, both personal and professional. What about stronger relationships when there's accountability? What would happen if people took responsibility for their actions, thus building trust and reliability, leading to stronger and healthier relationships with others? What about improved performance? In a workplace context, what would happen if accountability led to increased productivity, higher employee morale, and a more positive work environment? Instead of coming after somebody, censoring them, shutting them down, it's like, let's work together. Let's discuss differences. Let's discuss maybe a need to change about anything. What about that? What about resilience and adaptability? What would happen if we embraced accountability, helping individuals to persevere through challenges and learn from setbacks, fostering what? Resilience and adaptability. What about a fulfilling life as Americans? What would happen if by taking ownership of actions and choices, individuals gained a sense of control over their lives and create a more fulfilling and purposeful path? If accountability is so important, how do we cultivate accountability? What about setting clear goals? Define specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals to provide a clear path for accountability. What about embracing self-reflection, regularly assessing progress, identifying areas for improvement, and acknowledge both successes and setbacks? What would happen if we seek feedback? What would happen if we ask for constructive feedback from others? We're still talking about accountability. We're still talking about the effective leadership that sets things up for us to be successful. Asking for constructive feedback from others to gain different perspectives and identify areas for growth. What would happen if we did that? What about creating a culture of accountability? Fostering an environment where individuals feel safe to take responsibility for their actions and learn from mistakes. That could be powerful. What would happen if we embrace transparency, being open and honest about our actions and decisions and being willing to take responsibility for the consequences? What would happen if we partner with others? What would happen? What about finding an accountability partner who we trust? They support us and they can support us in achieving our goals and hold us accountable for commitments. What about focusing on actions and not blame? Instead of dwelling on mistakes, focus on taking corrective action and learning from experience. What about practicing self-compassion? Where does that fit in? Acknowledging your mistakes and learn from them rather than dwelling on self-criticism. This is powerful stuff because it changes your mindset. It changes how you flow. In conclusion, accountability, it's a powerful tool that can transform individuals and organizations. I've seen it over and over again. By embracing responsibility for our actions, we can unlock our full potential, build stronger relationships, and create a more fulfilling and successful life. What have we looked at tonight? The Trump effect. This is what he's doing. All of a sudden, accountability with organizations and where our money was going and how we were being treated as citizens. And our clinical perspective is examining balance in accountability. Listen, we're going somewhere. Yes, we are. And it's expecting us when we get there. We're going to keep moving forward. I want you, listen, I so much appreciate you. I appreciate your support and your prayers. Let's keep praying for one another. Let's keep supporting each other as we get balance and accountability. Let's remember to pray for our nation. There's our flag. Let's pray for our president and the cabinet and his cabinet thereof. Keep coming back. I will see you next week. We're going somewhere. Yes, it's expecting us when we get there. I'll see you next week as we continue to go from destruction to dignity, clinical perspectives, spiritual truths. I'll see you next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are one power, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.